Hey guys, this is Lindsay with the Heart for All Students, and I'm chiming in real quick today to just go over how I modify IEWs for kids that struggle with dyslexia, reading comprehension, or language processing. Perhaps they have ADHD, maybe they're autistic, or they don't have a diagnosis at all, but they really struggle with writing. This is what I do. So I'm just going to use this workbook. So in IEW, you have your source text. If you're doing this on your own, I have a goal of 4 times that we read this. The first time, I will read it with my student. My child might be sitting right next to me, and we're both sitting over the book, and I will just read it, and I will have them follow along. The next time around, I might have my student read it to me. If they have a hard time reading, if they have a hard time reading out loud, or if they're just exhausted, maybe I would I'd partner read with them. So I would read a couple sentences and then maybe have them read one. We just get that through that second reading. Not do all 4 readings on one day. The next day, come back. After you've read the second time, first time you're reading it to your student, second time either your student is reading it to you or your partner reading or some modification of that. Third time around, I have my student take a highlighter and we're going to go through that first sentence. Neverland is a make-believe island that comes to life in a storybook. So whether they have the pen in their hand or I do, I don't care. You just decide where your child is and how much you can get out of them. What are the most important words in this first sentence? So I might highlight Neverland, make-believe, island. That's probably what I would highlight. Just go through each sentence and highlight 3 words. That's your 3rd reading. 4th reading, just read it all again. So that's the first part. You read it at least 4 times. You already have your words for your keyword outline because by the time you get to the end. Next up is the keyword outline. By that point, it's already highlighted. The book is open flat on the desk, and we would literally go topic 1. I'd say, okay, what's the topic? Okay, it's Neverland, Peter Pan. I just put Neverland, Peter Pan. And then I would go through kind of sentence by sentence, and I would probably start with just sentence by sentence in the beginning. Sentence by sentence, and I would just write those 3 words. If your student struggles and if your student's resistant, just write it for them and have them read the 3 words and write it, scribe it for them. You're just trying to take baby step number 1, which is get them used to this pattern. Now you can see we only have 5 spaces here, and we have more than that as far as sentences here. So I might already ahead of time chunk out, okay, we're gonna pull from these 2 sentences and let's pick the most important and just brainstorm with them and write it down for them. After you do your keyword outline, I would have your child verbally have them retell this part out loud. You can model it for them. You could say, okay, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna retell the story based on these keywords. And I would retell the story based on those keywords, just out loud, just to give them a model. Then the next day, your child's gonna do that, but this time they're gonna speak it into a phone or a recording device. Talk to text, have them say it into a recording device. I typically record straight into Google Docs. Then my child would go back and then they would clean it up. That's when you do the checklist. Just say, okay, do we have our name and our date? Model the whole thing for them. That's how I did it, and it worked beautifully. Eventually, over time, my child would take over these jobs because they came more familiar to them. But they have to have a place to start. They have to have a place to start. First, you get your ideas out and you let it verbalize it. Second, you clean it up. Those steps kind of give us a whole paper. Ask your questions. Let me know. How do you modify IEW?